Before we crack open tonight's cursed can of content, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, and an extra Sinister shout out to the loyal members of the Sinister Elite. You legends help keep the darkness alive. If you're enjoying the stories and want to take it a step further, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and consider joining the Sinister Elite by clicking that join button below. Members get access to creepy custom emojis and exclusive Sinister Elite badges that level up the longer you survive with us. It's like loyalty, but spookier. All right, lights off, headphones in, and let's summon something we'll all regret. Working the midnight shift at a toll booth in rural Texas is about as glamorous as licking a gas station toilet seat. Don't get me wrong, the pay's not awful, and I like the solitude, but it's me, a tiny concrete box, a flickering fluorescent light, and a whole lot of highway stretching into nothing. The coyotes out here sound like they're laughing at me, and maybe they are. I wasn't always a toll collector. Used to work construction until a busted knee put me out. My cousin hooked me up with this gig. Said, "It's easy, man. Sit in a booth, take money, wave folks through." Sounded simple enough. But when I showed up for training, the supervisor slid a laminated sheet across the counter. It was taped to the inside wall of the booth, above the little cash drawer. The title read, "Rules for the Midnight Collector." Now most jobs have rules. Don't steal, show up on time, wear pants. But this was different. The list had 12 rules. Some were normal, like do not leave the booth unattended and no cell phones while on shift. But the rest? They read like something out of a campfire ghost story. Here's a sample. Rule number 3. If headlights disappear before reaching the booth, shut your eyes. Do not open them until the sound of the car fades. Rule number 6. Do not accept bills larger than $20, regardless of the vehicle or driver. Rule number 9. At exactly midnight, a black sedan with no plates will stop. Do not speak. Simply raise the gate. It has already paid. I laughed when I first read them. Thought it was some hazing ritual, like how frat boys make pledges chug toilet water. The supervisor didn't laugh, though. He just tapped the sheet with a yellowed fingernail and said, "You follow every damn one, son. Or you won't make it to sunrise." That stuck with me. Not because I believed him, but because of the way he said it. Flat, like a man who's already buried coworkers. The first few nights were boring. The usual drunks weaving home from honky-tonks, truckers with faces carved out of leather, kids blasting rap music in beat-up Hondas. Nothing out of the ordinary. I kept the rules in the back of my mind, but they were easy to forget. Until one night, around 11:40 p.m., I was chewing sunflower seeds, spitting shells into an empty big gulp when I noticed headlights cresting the hill in the distance. Bright, steady beams cutting through the dark. I got my drawer ready, expecting a truck. But halfway down the hill, the lights blinked out. Not dimmed. Gone. The engine still hummed. Tires still crunched gravel on the shoulder. But there were no lights, and they were coming straight for me. My heart started thumping. Rule number 3. If headlights disappear before reaching the booth, shut your eyes. I hesitated. It felt stupid. But the sound of that unseen car rolling closer made my skin crawl. I squeezed my eyes shut, tight as I could. The booth rattled as the car passed. My chest ached from holding my breath. I heard nothing but the roar of an engine fading into the night. When I finally opened my eyes, the road was empty. No taillights, no dust, nothing. I nearly pissed myself. After that, I taped the rules right above my head. Midnight came not long after. I checked my watch as the second hand swept 12, and damned if a black sedan didn't glide up smooth as glass. No plates, just like it said. The windows were tinted pitch dark. I couldn't see who, if anyone, was inside. The car stopped, silent, waiting. Rule number 9. Do not speak. Simply raise the gate. I pressed the button. The gate lifted. The sedan purred through without a sound. No headlights, no taillights. just swallowed by the dark. That was the moment I stopped laughing. Next shift, I asked my supervisor straight up, "What the hell is with these rules?" He stared at me, long and hard. Then he said, "Boy, you think the state pays you $12 an hour to take quarters from ranchers? You ain't collecting tolls. You're collecting time." I didn't know what that meant. Still don't. But I know this. Every night since, I've followed those rules like gospel. And the longer I work here, the more I think I shouldn't have taken this job. Because last night someone broke a rule, and I'm not sure they made it out alive. The booth has a rhythm if you listen for it. Quarter clink, gate thunk, engine fade, coyote laugh, boredom's metronome. You only notice the weird stuff because the normal stuff keeps time for it. I was finishing a microwave burrito, lava on the outside, ice pack in the middle, when the radio on my desk crackled with the other booth's channel. We have a second stand 3 miles up, where the toll road crosses a ranch access. It's usually closed at night, except when they're short-staffed. Tonight, it was open. Marisol was covering. You'd like Marisol. Barbed wire ponytail, rodeo belt. She called me Clink because I count change out loud. "Clink, you copy," she said. "Got a long cattle hauler coming through. Looks more tying." I swiveled to the CCTV, grainy as a ghost hunt video, but I could make out a truck. Too many joints in the trailer, like a centipede playing trucker. The hauler rolled to a stop. The driver's window didn't come down. The door twitched, just a little, like something inside was pushing back. Then the money slid out. It came under the glass as if it were already waiting there. Crisp green like pond scum in sunlight. A 50. My stomach dropped. Rule number 6. Do not accept bills larger than $20, regardless of the vehicle or driver. "Hey," I said into the mic, trying to keep my voice casual. "Marisol, policy changed. No 50s at night. You gotta ask, politely, for different change." "Copy," she said. Brave. You could hear the brave trembling. She slid the bill back under the glass and said something I couldn't hear. The truck's engine idled like a sleeping animal. Then the 50 folded. Not like a person folding paper, like muscle flexing under skin. It bent into a V, turned and slid, on its own, back toward her. The camera showed her eyebrows climbing into her hairline. "Sir," she said louder, "we don't take..." The bill slammed itself against the glass. The lights in her booth flickered. Moths erupted from somewhere. Dozens, then hundreds, thrashing against the fluorescent tube like it owed them money. The 50 stuck there, quivering, and I could swear I saw a damp circle blooming on it, spreading like a sweat stain. "Don't touch it," I yelled. "Marisol, don't..." The audio squealed. The camera went white for a flash like lightning. When it settled, the bill was gone. So were the moths. The truck was still there. The gate was still down. Marisol was not in her chair. Her headset lay on the counter. The mic arced toward the floor like it was pointing at something. The something was a damp circle on the tile, a ring the size of a 50, but dark, like a bruise in the shape of a mouth. I stood up so fast my knee screamed. I grabbed the field phone to call the supervisor. The line rang once, twice. Somewhere in the distance, my distance, not the phone's, I heard hooves. But there aren't horses on the toll road. Not at midnight. The black sedan arrived at my booth like punctuation. The second hand clicked to 12. Rule number 9. Do not speak. Simply raise the gate. It has already paid. I pressed the button with a hand that wouldn't stop jumping. The sedan glided through. As it passed the window, something tapped the glass 3 times, polite as a stranger asking for a light. I didn't look. Rule number 12. If something knocks on the back door or the side window, do not acknowledge. I don't know who wrote rule number 12. I only know they wrote it because they learned the hard way. The phone finally picked up. Highway District, Supervisor Hargis. Marisol, I said. Other booth. Something's wrong. I think someone broke. Which rule? he asked, too fast. Not what's wrong, not are you okay? Which rule? It felt like a dentist asking what flavor drill you'd like. 6, I said. $50 bill. A pause. Papers shuffled. Stay in your booth, he said. Do you hear me, son? Stay seated. Do not open your door. Do not leave your station for any reason. I'm sending the auditor. The what? But the line had already gone dead. The only sound left was the burrito turning to concrete in my stomach and the faint click of the gate relay cooling down. I checked the camera again. The truck still waited. The far side of its trailer seemed to breathe. The gate arm inched up on its own, a hair at a time, then settled like it had thought better of it. Something scraped along the booth wall. There, not here, like antlers on cinder block. Clink. The voice wasn't on the radio. It wasn't in the phone. It was in the little speaker we use for intercom when drivers press the help button. The one that's never worked for as long as I've been here. I looked at the button. It wasn't lit. There was nothing on my lanes. The highway stretched, empty as a church on Monday. Clink, it said again. Patient. Gate. I swallowed. Rule number 4 isn't printed, but everybody knows it. Don't talk about the rules with outsiders. I thumbed the intercom anyway. This is lane A, I said. State your need. Paid, the voice said. Already paid. I stared at the cash drawer, at my roll of 20s, at the laminated sheet. I hadn't taken a 50. I'd followed the rules. But we had broken one, hadn't we? Is a rule broken if it's broken 3 miles away and you're the only collector left? Gate, the voice repeated. It sounded like it was learning English the way a coyote learns how to lift a latch. I didn't raise it. The light above me buzzed. The booth cooled 2 degrees, like a cloud had stepped over the moon. Then I smelled cedar. Fresh cut, wet sap. Rule number 10. I'd skimmed it every night, figuring it was one of the silly ones. If you smell cedar, count backward from 7 and drink water. Do not answer questions until the taste fades. I fumbled for my bottle. 7, 6, 5. I drank. 4, 3, 2. The cedar dulled to pencil shavings. 1. Silence pressed on the glass. Something knocked, this time on my back door. 3 even taps. Not angry. Patient. I stared dead ahead and pretended I was a mannequin. I didn't breathe for too long, then breathed too hard, a dog learning to yoga. After a minute, the knocking stopped. The far camera stuttered. The cattle hauler was gone. The wet ring on Marisol's floor was drying at the edges like tea on cement. My radio hissed. All lanes, hold position. Auditor inbound. Who the hell is the auditor? I asked no one. The only answer was the coyotes, laughing like they'd just heard the funniest joke on earth. I tried to pull up Marisol's personnel file on the terminal. The system asked for her employee ID. I typed it. No record found. I blinked, backed out, tried her last name. Tried temporary. Part-time. Night relief. No record found. On the pegboard above the desk, the spare name tags hung in a neat little row. Mine, an old cracked one that said Larry, one that said supervisor, and a fourth with nothing on it at all. Blank, like it was waiting. The phone rang once, soft. Not the field line, the old landline that shouldn't even have a connection anymore. I picked it up because I am an idiot. A voice that wasn't a voice. Said from everywhere and nowhere. Toll unpaid. Collector must collect. Then the line went dead, and the back door latch turned by itself, halfway, like a courteous hand was trying not to be rude. I didn't leave my chair. I kept my eyes front. I counted backward and swallowed air like water because my bottle was empty. Headlights appeared on the hill. 2 pairs, then 3, then 5, then 15, piling up from nothing. A traffic jam of night that hadn't been there a second before. They all came toward me, slow and purposeful, like the highway itself had started remembering how busy it used to be. And I knew, like you know lightning's for you when your hair lifts, that the auditor was in one of those cars. Not to pay, to balance the books. The traffic jam came out of nothing. 20 cars deep, everyone rolling smooth toward my booth like ants marching home. No engines, no exhaust. Just wheels humming on asphalt. Each car stopped perfectly, bumper to bumper. The first was a rusted Chevy Malibu with license plates from 1987. The driver's window rolled down. Inside was nothing but shadows. Not empty, shadows. They shifted, but I couldn't tell if it was wind or breathing. A pale hand, bone thin, slid a bill out and pressed it against the glass. A 20. Good. Safe. I slid the drawer open, took the bill, dropped it in the till and hit the button. The gate rose, thunking like it hated the job as much as me. The Malibu passed, no headlights, no taillights. The next car rolled up without hesitation. That's how it went. Car after car, each offering a 20, each passing in silence. A Toyota with the paint half peeled, a Cadillac with a crushed hood, a school bus with blacked out windows. My drawer filled with 20s that felt too stiff, like they'd been pressed yesterday even though the dates were decades old. When the last car idled up, I knew it was different. It was a hearse. A long black one, shiny like wet ink, no plates, no rust. Its tires didn't crunch gravel, they whispered. The window rolled down an inch, then stopped. Smoke poured out, and inside, behind that smoke, something moved. Not a person. Too big, too slow, like a filing cabinet full of meat trying to remember how to bend. The air got colder. My breath fogged against the glass. The laminated rules above me had always been clear until that moment. Rule number 11 blurred, like water had seeped between the lamination and paper. I leaned closer. The letters swam back into focus. Rule number 11. When the auditor arrives, do not request payment. Accept their tally. The hearse door creaked open. A man stepped out. He wore a black suit that didn't fit right. Too long in the arms, too short in the legs. His shoes were dusty, cracked like they'd walked 100 years. His face was narrow, pale as flour, and his eyes didn't blink. Didn't even shine. They just absorbed light, like potholes in the night. He walked to the window, set down a briefcase, and tapped it once with 2 fingers. Long, yellow fingers with nails too flat. "Collector," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried like someone whispering inside my skull. "Ledger." I looked at the till, at the stack of 20s that felt wrong in my hand. "Ledger?" He tapped the briefcase again. "Debits. Credits. Broken rules." The camera monitor fuzzed with static. For half a second I saw Marisol on the feed, her booth full of moths again, her mouth moving soundlessly. Then it cut back to snow. My stomach dropped. The auditor clicked the briefcase open. Inside were stacks of bills, but not like money I'd ever seen. Yellowed, brittle paper stamped with faces I didn't recognize. Some had holes punched through them like they'd been nailed to a board. Others were stained dark red. He pulled out a ledger, leather-bound and thick as a phone book, set it on the counter, flipped it open. "Violation," he said. "Rule 6. $50 acceptance attempt." His voice echoed like it was being read in a courtroom underground. "I didn't..." His hand snapped up. One yellow nail hovered like a knife at my throat, though there was glass between us. The booth accepted the offer. "Collector's responsible." My chest thudded. Sweat rolled down my back. "What happens?" He smiled. It was the kind of smile that made you want to stop asking questions. The rules above me blurred again, and a new line appeared beneath rule number 12, like ink writing itself. Rule number 13. If the auditor tallies your booth, do not argue. Sign your name. A pen slid under the drawer. I hadn't seen him move. Black ink tip. No brand, no markings. The ledger waited, open to a blank line. I swallowed. My name hovered on my tongue. My real name, the one my mama gave me. I felt it buzzing like it wanted out. But my cousin's voice came back to me, the one who got me this job. He'd once said, "Don't ever give them your full name, Clink. Not unless you want your mail forwarded to the grave." The pen sat there, patient. The auditor's eyes, those black potholes, never blinked. I scrawled, C. Boone, my first initial and last name. The ink bled too fast, like it was thirsty. The ledger swallowed it whole. The auditor snapped the book shut. Tally complete. He slid one more thing across. A coin. Heavy, tarnished, stamped with a symbol I couldn't place. A circle inside a square inside another circle. For your service, he said. Then he turned, got back into the hearse, and drove into the night. No headlights, no taillights, just gone. The booth felt too small after that, too cold. My drawer was stuffed with 20s that weren't mine, and that coin on the desk pulsed warm, like a heartbeat. On the CCTV, Marisol's booth was empty again. No moths, no wet stain, just an open chair. And taped to the inside of her booth's glass was a new sheet of paper. Even from here, I could read the bold title, Rules for the Replacement Collector. That coin sat on my desk like a dare. Heavy, warm, too clean compared to the grime of everything else in the booth. When I picked it up, the edges dug sharper than they looked. Perfect grooves like the ridges on a gear. The symbol on it, circle, square, circle, kept drawing my eye. It looked ancient and modern at the same time, like some cult sigil slapped on a casino chip. I should have tossed it back out the drawer, but my fingers wouldn't let go. The radio crackled to life. Not with dispatch. Not with the other booth. It was her. Clink. It was Marisol. I froze. Mari? Where the hell are you? Static ate half her words, but I caught enough. Rules. Don't. Coin. Then silence. I stared at the thing. It wasn't pulsing now, but I swear it had shrunk a hair. Like it had fed. The laminated sheet above me flickered again. The ink swam, rearranging itself. A new line bled into existence beneath rule number 13. Rule number 14. Never spend the coin. Never lose it. Never give it away. I shoved it into my pocket, trying not to think about how it seemed heavier than it should be. That's when the knock came. 3 taps. Side window this time. I didn't look. Rule number 12. Don't acknowledge knocks. The knock came again, slower, louder. Something dragged along the glass, nails or claws screeching down the pane. I clenched my jaw, kept my eyes on the blacktop. Then the voice. Collector. You owe me change, I couldn't help it. My eyes flicked sideways. The window was black, not dark, black, like someone had painted it from the outside. My reflection was gone, erased. The cash drawer slid open on its own. The coin inside my pocket burned. I slammed the drawer shut and pressed my back to the chair. Sweat dripped down my temple. The phone rang. The field line. I snatched it up. Yeah? Don't listen to them, Supervisor Hargis said. His voice was raw, like he'd been yelling somewhere else. You got the coin? Yeah. Good. That means you're bound now. Bound to the booth. You're not just collecting tolls anymore. You're holding the line. He hung up before I could argue. The coin throbbed in my pocket like a second heart. The road was empty for maybe 20 minutes. Then I saw them. Headlights cresting the hill. Not one pair this time. Dozens. All at once. Like a convoy rolling out of the dark. Except only one car made it to me. The others blinked out, gone like snuffed candles. This one stopped right at the gate. A beat-up pickup, paint stripped to bare metal. The driver leaned out the window. He looked normal enough at first. Baseball cap, wrinkled face, Marlboro lip. Then he grinned. Too wide, too many teeth. "Evenin', collector," he said. His voice was Texas thick, but the syllables bent wrong like he'd learned English phonetically from chewing roadkill. He held out a bill. A 10. Safe. I reached for it. My drawer slid open. Then I saw his eyes. They weren't eyes, just black pits with tiny moving things squirming deep inside. The rules didn't cover this. I froze halfway. "Don't be rude," he said, pushing the 10 closer. His grin widened until it reached his ears. The skin didn't tear. It just kept stretching. My hand brushed the coin in my pocket. Heat surged up my arm into my chest like fire catching gasoline. The symbol branded itself into my head. And then, without meaning to, I slammed the gate button. The barrier didn't rise. Instead, it snapped down. Hard. Metal slammed the hood of his truck, splitting it like kindling. Sparks flew. The engine roared and died. The driver shrieked, voice like metal scraping metal. His too wide mouth foamed dark liquid. He clawed at the gate, but the coin burned hotter in my hand. The booth lights flared. For a second, he was gone. Truck, grin, pits for eyes. All gone. When the lights dimmed, the road was empty. All that remained was the $10 bill on the concrete, soaked through with something black that smelled like cedar. The CCTV flickered. Marisol's booth came into focus. The chair wasn't empty anymore. She was there, but her skin looked wrong, like it didn't fit her bones. She leaned toward the camera. Her lips moved, and the speakers in my booth whispered in perfect sync, "Don't let them in." The feed cut. The phone rang again, but this time it wasn't the field line. It was the dead landline, and the voice on the other end said, "Collector, your shift has just begun." The landline's voice didn't wait for me to answer. "Your ledger is incomplete. Debits remain. Collector must balance." Then the line went dead with a click sharp enough to sting my ear. I sat there gripping the receiver, staring out at a road so empty it might as well have been painted black. The coin pulsed in my pocket, steady as a metronome. Balance what? I hadn't taken anything. I followed the rules. At least, I thought I had. The CCTV screens flickered again, one by one. Each booth on the system blinked to life. Only problem? There isn't more than 2 booths, yet the monitors showed a dozen. All identical concrete boxes lined in a row, glowing under different skies. Sunset, rain, snow, even a blood-red dawn. And in each one a collector sat behind glass. Some looked like me. Some didn't. One was a woman in a 1950s uniform, bouffant hair stacked high. Another was a man in a cowboy hat with a face made of shadow. They all turned, in perfect sync, and stared straight at me through the screens. Then, every single one of them raised a coin. Mine burned hot enough to sear through denim. I yanked it out. The metal glowed faint red, the symbol throbbing. The speakers crackled. Not Marisol this time. Deeper. Wrong. "Collector, the toll is due." I shoved the coin onto the counter. The second it touched the metal surface, the booth went silent, like the whole desert held its breath. Then headlights appeared again. Just one pair. A black pickup. Not like the last. It was clean, brand new, windows tinted black. It rolled up slow, engine quiet, like it was stalking prey. The window lowered. The driver wasn't a man, wasn't even pretending. It was a figure made of smoke and bone, its face stretched into something that flickered between grins and snarls. It reached out with a hand made of ash and dropped a bill into the drawer. A 20. But when I picked it up, the number changed. A 50. Then 100. Then 1,000. The paper swam under my fingers, numbers flipping like a slot machine. The rules screamed in my head. Never accept bills larger than 20. The coin hummed. Hotter, louder. The booth light flickered. I had a choice. Take the bill and break the rule, or reject it and break whatever bargain the coin had locked me into. The figure leaned close, smoke bleeding through the gap in the window. Its voice rattled the booth walls. "Collector. Balance." My hand shook over the drawer, then Marisol's voice cut through, sharp as glass. "Don't let them in." I slammed the drawer shut. The bill vanished with a hiss. The figure shrieked, loud enough to rattle the concrete walls. Its headlights flared bright white, then blinked out. When my eyes adjusted, the truck was gone. But the coin? The coin had changed. It wasn't warm anymore. It was ice cold, and the symbol had shifted. Now it showed not one square, but two. Like a tally mark, the laminated sheet above me rippled, and another new rule bled into view. Rule number 15. The coin will keep count. If the tally reaches 7, the collector is forfeit. I dropped it on the counter like it had bitten me. My stomach clenched. I'd already hit 2. The radio squawked, almost casual. Clink, you copy? I grabbed it, my throat dry. Marisol? Her voice came back thin, stretched, like she was speaking through water. They're not cars. They're debts. Don't collect what you can't carry. Then she screamed. The sound made the screens flash white. When the static cleared, her booth was empty again. The desert outside stayed silent for a long time. Too long. Then the back door latch clicked once, twice. The third time, it turned all the way. The back door latch slid open like it had been waiting years for this moment. I didn't move. Couldn't. The coin sat on the counter, cold as ice. Tally mark burned into its face. 2 down, 5 to go. The desert air pressed in, cedar-scented and sharp. Something stepped into the booth. Not footsteps, not exactly. More like the weight of memory making the walls creak. I kept my eyes straight ahead. Rule number 12. Don't acknowledge knocks, voices, or visitors. But then it spoke. Clink. It wasn't Marisol's voice. It wasn't Supervisor Hargis. It was my mama's voice. Soft, tired, the way she used to sound after double shifts. My throat tightened. I knew it wasn't her, but my body didn't care. Son, it whispered behind me, close enough I could feel the air move. Turn around. You don't have to carry this anymore. Let me. The rules pulsed above my head, letters swimming. One line glowed brighter than the rest. Rule number 1. Never leave the booth. Not, don't turn around. Not, don't listen. Just, don't leave. My chair groaned as I shifted, sweat slicking my back. My hand brushed the coin. It burned cold enough to hurt. I can take it, baby, the voice said. I'll balance the ledger. Just hand me the coin. The symbol on the metal pulsed. 3 squares now. 3 tallies. I gritted my teeth. Not yours. The thing behind me hissed, sharp as snakes on a griddle. The temperature dropped so fast my breath smoked. The laminated sheet crinkled, frost edging the plastic. The CCTV monitors lit all at once. Every booth, every collector staring forward. Not moving, not blinking. Coins on every counter. One by one, they all raised their hands in unison. Fingers pointing, not at me, but behind me. My skin crawled. I grabbed the coin, jammed it into the drawer, and slammed it shut. The metal shrieked like a banshee. The thing behind me screamed with it, clawing the walls. Cedar smoke filled the booth, thick and choking. I mashed the gate button. The barrier snapped down so hard it cracked the asphalt. A blast of light flooded the lane, headlights, hundreds of them, stretching into infinity. Every car I'd seen before, every ghost driver, every debt unpaid, all stacked bumper to bumper, silent, waiting. The auditor stood in the middle of the road, ledger open. His voice carried through the glass. Collector. Balance. The coin in the drawer rattled. The counter clicked. 4, 5, 6. 1 mark left. I realized then, the tally wasn't about debts. It was about choices. Each time I refused, the coin marked me closer to forfeit. 7 meant I was gone. I thought of Marisol, of the blank tag on the pegboard, of the empty booths, waiting for replacements. So I did the only thing I could. I pulled the drawer open, grabbed the coin and bit down on it like it was a bullet. Pain seared through me. The symbol burned into my tongue, down my throat, branding my lungs. The road roared alive. The cars screamed forward all at once, headlights blazing. The auditor's ledger snapped shut, pages catching fire. The booth shook. Glass shattered. The rules above me blackened, curling into ash. And then, silence. When I opened my eyes, the highway was empty. No cars, no auditor, no Marisol. Just dawn creeping up over the desert, pale and pink. The coin lay on the counter, cracked down the middle. A new sheet of paper was taped to the glass. Fresh laminate, fresh ink. Rules for the day collector. Only one line on it. Rule number 1, never quit. You're the booth now. I laughed until I cried. Or maybe I cried until it sounded like laughing. Hard to tell. Because out past the horizon, headlights were already coming. And this time I didn't need the rules to know what to do. Oh.